Well, as World Mental Health Day approaches this Sunday, this is a great time to teach our children about mental illness. But how can you incorporate World Mental Health Day into a lesson or discussion that kids will understand?
Kristen Denzer is the CEO and founder of a national daycare franchise and has tips for creating a safe and secure learning environment so our kids can become aware and compassionate adults. Kristen, great to have you here with us this morning. You know, this is a heavy topic to have with some kids. Sometimes kids might not even be responsive to what we're asking them. But how do you make mental health part of your normal, everyday conversation so it's not so taboo?
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of things that parents can do really at any age to help normalize mental health for children. One of the things that we talk about a lot is using words to talk about our emotions as an adult. And so that helps equip children with the words and tools they need to understand how they're feeling. And so, for example, if I forget to call my mom on her birthday and I'm just like, really bummed about that, saying to your child, I'm feeling really sad because I forgot to call grandma, and I called her though, and I said happy birthday, and I feel much better now that I was able to talk to her. Like, talking about those emotions, especially when they're really young, helps give names to them, and then children are able to use that and see it's okay, it's normal to have emotions, and there's a way to feel better and how to solve and how to talk about them. And another thing we like to say is building an environment built on trust and communication and acceptance. And so with that, creating a safe space for your kids to feel like they can come and talk to you. And that is something as well, like at a young age, really starting to do. And even now, no matter the age, doing like trust exercises. So, for example, with my child, what I like to do is I'll be like, how was your day? Anything happen? And they'll tell you sometimes things where you're like, where your reaction might be like, that you're grounded or you shouldn't do that. But when it's small things, if you respond like, okay, well, thank you for telling me about that. Can you help me understand a little bit more? Really leading with questions to help talk about situations and things that, maybe are wrong or you wish they did differently, but creating a space where they feel like they could actually tell you that. And then you'll talk and understand versus just an immediate like, oh, nope, you're grounded. Immediate reaction like that really helps with their development, helps normalize that.
I like that. All right. Well, do you think there's still a stigma surrounding mental health these days? And what about how difficult does that make it for people who are having difficulties to go out and seek some help?
Absolutely. I think there's absolutely a stigma surrounding mental health. And I think, a really important key part of that is being a strong advocate for your child. Not only just talking about that normalized emotions, but being a strong advocate, because oftentimes, for example, in school, your child's teacher might come to you and say, hey, your child's really struggling and there might be something else going on there. But sometimes parents are like, no, not my child. Or, I struggled with that in school. Maybe I struggled to pay attention, and I got through it, but just because, maybe you struggled doesn't mean your child should. And so really hearing when people tell you there's something more and getting help right away, talking to your child, watching them, you're really paying attention. So if you notice, all of a sudden they're in their room a lot, maybe they seem down, ask what's going on. And that's where it's so key to be that safe space where they feel like they can tell you. And, I think something that's really important for parents is research shows asking if they're thinking about harming themselves does not lead to them harming themselves. So ask that question, because creating that space where it's okay to talk about those things will help prevent some of the, really tragic situations that some families find themselves in now.
Kids do go through a lot of changes as they grow, and their needs change as they develop. So how do you reach kids at different age levels, especially teenagers who just, don't want their parents around or asking them questions?
Yes, so teenagers, so at every age, I think using these keys and using the environment, when a child's younger, choosing, for example, books about different scenarios they might find themselves in will help set them up for success down the road. But when a child's a teenager, those opportunities are a little bit more difficult. And so really trying to find those moments, not just with building trust, building communication, being there for them, hearing them, like really hearing them, like, putting down your phone and really hearing what they say and asking questions, but taking whatever opportunities you have to delve in. And so, for example, if you're doing like a family movie night with your teenager and you see bullying in a movie, talking about it, talking about, oh, wow, like that's really terrible how that child was bullied in the movie, and using that and their responses as cues, and it, how they respond might key you into, oh, maybe they're experiencing that. And so trying to take those opportunities to not only get to know your child, but really make sure that they're, in a safe, healthy space.
And are there tools available that can actually help us talk to our kids about mental health?
Yes. There's, not just with your, mental health professionals and pediatrician and physician, but online there's so many resources, particularly, hotlines for children that might be thinking about harming themselves. And so for parents today, I think the easiest place to go is with your school and their counselor, because they have so many resources, especially right now with the pandemic. So many have resources where they can connect to you and your family to make sure that they get the help they need.
All right, Kristen Denzer is the CEO and founder of Tierra and Cantata, a national daycare franchise. Thank you for sharing your insight on mental health awareness.
Yeah, thank you for having me.